She gently swirled her glass of red wine, her voice distant and emotionless as she said, "I want you to relinquish custody." The statement floated through the air like she'd asked me to rearrange furniture, not drop a bomb that would upend everything. Sitting across from her at the polished oak dining table, I studied her carefully. The mouth I used to kiss goodnight now wore a self-satisfied smirk, as though she'd already seen the outcome unfold in her favor. "It's for his best interest," she added, her tone implying she was doing me a favor, offering me mercy in the form of surrender. Her new boyfriend, Jake, lounged nearby, angular jaw framed by deliberately styled stubble. He fancied himself some kind of self-help sage, the type who ran overpriced seminars and read motivational books with snarling animals on the cover. I kept my expression calm, carefully composed. "If that's what helps you sleep," I murmured, voice low. Her brow creased slightly, a glimmer of uncertainty flashing across her features. She'd been bracing for an argument, maybe shouting or tears. But my measured response unsettled her. And in that silence, the foundation of my plan began to take shape. This wasn't always who she was. The woman I once pledged my life to use to twirl barefoot in the rain, weep at the endings of heartfelt cartoons, and memorize dinosaur names just to share in our son's passion. But time or discontent had dimmed that woman. Or perhaps I'd become too easy to overlook. Then Jake appeared in her yoga class, fit, rehearsed, full of affirmations, and she began to drift from our marriage. She rationalized her betrayal, claiming emotional distance had already severed us. That somehow, neglecting vows was justified if love had faded. I didn't lash out. I absorbed every word, cataloged every shift in her behavior, and wore the mask of the heartbroken ex, the one she expected, pliable, defeated, compliant. Then came her request, full custody. She insisted the kids needed a steady home. Jake, she claimed, needed room to build a relationship with them. The word relationship pierced like a shard of glass. Still, I nodded, too quickly, too easily. That very night, after I signed the provisional documents, I began. With careful precision, I documented everything. I archived voice messages, stored text conversations, gathered statements from our nanny, and logged sessions with our son's therapist, where he described Jake's angry episodes in shaky, tearful tones while his mother stood by, silent. I built a complete dossier. Digital backups, hard copies, organized and cross-referenced. This wasn't about revenge. It was about securing the truth. I knew the family court didn't reward emotional appeals. It rewarded documentation, professionalism, and presentation. I made sure I had all three. I hired an investigator, not the trench coat cliché, but a skilled digital analyst. He dug into Jake's history and uncovered a messy trail, a DUI, 2 suppressed domestic disputes, and a restraining order from a former girlfriend who'd changed her identity to disappear from his life. I didn't tip my hand. I let her believe she'd won. I played the passive role she'd assigned me, and she took the bait. A few days before our hearing, I sent her lilies and a handwritten card. "Thank you for everything." She saw it as surrender. It was the first move in my endgame. The courtroom had the sterile scent of waxed wood and aged paper. A space where lives get redefined behind solemn expressions. She arrived in a flowing white dress, an image crafted to whisper innocence. Jake flanked her, his swagger replaced by forced sincerity, face smooth and clean-shaven. I entered alone. Plain gray suit. No entourage. No theatrics. She smiled faintly, mistaking my simplicity for weakness. When the judge asked if I had anything to submit before finalizing the custody arrangement, I stood and placed a thick binder on his desk, every section meticulously tabbed. "Your Honor," I said, "this is evidence related to the welfare of my children while in the care of Ms. Harper and Mr. Grayson." Her smile faltered. The judge flipped it open. The first pages were transcriptions of our son's counseling sessions, recounts of being left alone, of doors slammed in anger, of shouting he didn't understand. Then came the audio recordings, Jake's slurred voice, hurling cruel words, brushing off our daughter as an annoyance, her mother's distant laughter in the background. Next, the investigators' findings. Redacted police files, domestic abuse claims swept under the rug, a court order buried in sealed records. The judge's jaw tensed. His eyes hardened. "I wasn't aware," she began, voice trembling. Silence. The judge snapped, his hand raised in finality. It was justice. Quiet, deliberate, complete. Jake's mask shattered. Red-faced, he launched into a tirade, then stormed from the courtroom, leaving her behind. She sat frozen, eyes darting between me and the judge, trying to comprehend how her perfectly constructed facade had collapsed in moments. She had never truly held control. Not over the children, not over the truth, and certainly not over the ending. The judge cleared his throat. Full custody is awarded to Mr. Harper. Effective immediately. Visitation rights for the mother will be supervised until further review. I didn't smile or gloat, just gave a respectful nod as I passed her, leaning in to whisper, "If that's what helps you sleep." That evening, I brought the kids home for dinner. We ate in peace. I told them the storm was over, that their home was theirs again. My son, voice small, asked if Jake would return. "No," I said gently. "People like that don't belong where truth is known." She flooded my phone with messages. Please, accusations, rage. I didn't block her. I let every unanswered call echo her regret. She said I'd twisted the facts. But all I'd done was shine light on the parts she tried to bury. This wasn't vengeance. It was a promise kept, to the children she treated like bargaining chips. I let her believe she'd won, then quietly reclaimed what mattered most, piece by undeniable piece.